something a little bit different. I want to talk about my 2016 travel plans. So because I'm partway through the year, I'm in October 1st, I want to talk about where I've been the first part of 2016, since that's not in any of my videos because I just started my videos about 2 months ago. And then I want to talk about where I'm going to be going the last part of 2016. So I started out my year 2016 over in South America. Actually started in November up in Colombia, heading south. And then in 2016, I actually started as I crossed over the border from, I think it was crossing from Ecuador into Peru. Yeah, so I crossed over here where it says Z here. At this point was January 1. I celebrated New Year's in a small beach town called Huanchaco in Peru. Had an absolute fun time there watching the fireworks and seeing the partying going on and seeing how Peruvians celebrate. They really party hard and drink. Wish I had video for this year for the first 9 months. I do have extensive writing of my time for the last 5 years in my blog website, 7wonderstheworld.com. So you can go back and read about all of these places. Headed south from there to Lima. I spent 10 days in a Vipassana meditation retreat just outside of Lima. Had a fantastic experience there. You can read about that. Then I continued on to Cusco and went to Machu Picchu. Of course, if you're in Peru, you've got to see Machu Picchu. Went south to Puno with the intent to cross into Bolivia. But unfortunately, I was not able to cross into Bolivia and go to La Paz or Uni to the salt flats. And that was unfortunately because there was a bus driver strike for all of the roads. Apparently that's a common thing in Bolivia. All sorts of labor strikes going on, lots of problems in the country that way. So all the roads were locked down and shut down going around Lake Titicaca, getting over to La Paz. I was not able to enter into Bolivia, just too difficult, and there was no end in the strike. Didn't know how long it was going to last. So I changed my route, went down to Tacna and crossed over into Chile, crossing the border there, and then continued south, San Pedro de Atacama, which is sort of like a surrealistic Valley of the Moon, I think, and Valley of the Dead. They had all sorts of crazy stuff there. You can read in my blog about that. La Serena, continued there. Went down to Santiago and out to Valparaiso, sort of an artist community, hippie type place. Santiago I really, really love. This is sort of where things change from sort of the Mexican style Latin America to sort of European style Latin America. So it was quite a change in architecture, in the affluence, the level of money, the types of buildings, going from more adobe and concrete block structure with tile roofs or metal roofs to more the traditional European Spanish style architecture like you would see in Spain. Then I continued south, went down to Villarica and to Pucón, to the volcanoes around the lakes there. It was absolutely gorgeous. Then I broached down to Puerto Varas, which is really where Patagonia starts beginning. Patagonia extends between Argentina, this entire area, and south. So Chile in the south, Argentina in the south of this line is really Patagonia, particularly in this green zone area, which is the beautiful national parks and forests of Patagonia, glaciers, all that kind of stuff. So it was absolutely gorgeous down this area, but I decided not to continue south for two reasons. It was getting cold. I was not really equipped for winter gear. I do have a jacket, but not for extreme cold conditions. And the costs were higher, and the travel difficulty. You have to use boats for most of this area down here in southern Chile. So I went as far as I could go with buses, which is down to Castro and up here to Ancud, and then back to Puerto Montt, which is more like a stopover town, not so interesting for tourists, as I proceeded over to Bariloche, crossing into Argentina. Ironically, I arrived in Bariloche exactly the same time President Obama made his visit
saw his helicopter cross over the top of my hostel through Bariloche as he went out to the golf course to play golf with the government dignitaries and stuff like that. And at that time, he signed an agreement with Argentina to remove the fees for U.S. citizens to visit Argentina, which is really funny because I just barely paid that fee a week earlier to enter into Argentina. And the week I was there, the week he was there, those fees were all removed. So that was sort of funny. Continued north to Mendoza, which is wine country. I did a wine tour there on a bicycle, which was really fun. My hostel served wine at night for 2 hours. It was really great. Went to Buenos Aires for the first time. Had a great time. Crossed over to Uruguay, hit 4 cities there: Colonia, Montevideo, Punta del Este, up to Punta de Diablo. Had a great time in these little cities. Passed north from Uruguay up to Porto Alegre, and then up to Florianopolis, which is a little beach city. Again, you can read about these in my blog writing. Sao Paulo was more like a stopover. I'm not a big fan of big cities with only shopping and partying. It's not really my thing. But I did enjoy my time in Paraty, which is more like a beach city. And then finished up my South American tour here in Rio. Spent about a week in Rio. Enjoyed the sights there. No, I had nothing stolen. Had a great time in Rio for a week. And then I flew from there over to Europe, where I continued with my European tour. I've been to Europe 3 times, past 9 months, or past 4.5 months. I've been, where you can see on this map, a lot of places. This was an exploration tour. So first time I was in Europe was in 2004, Rome, Italy, and Berlin, Germany, a week in each place. 2011, lived in Berlin and hit Poland and Czech Republic, briefly in Copenhagen. And then, of course, this time where I did the big tour, landing in Vienna, going over pretty quickly through Slovakia. You can see, let's see, one Vienna, Bratislava, Budapest in Hungary, Bled, Ljubljana in Slovenia, then into Italy, 4 cities there. Venice was gorgeous, Florence was great. Not a big fan of Rome, been there twice, just did not get into that city. Then finished up Italy and Milan, crossed over into Lyon and Paris for France. Really enjoyed Lyon, not so much Paris. Had a great time in Brussels, in Belgium. Crossed in, did couch surfing with a friend in Cologne in Germany, and then couch surfing with a friend in Amsterdam. Had a great time hanging out with them. Crossed over to United Kingdom and went to London, and I was in London when they announced the leaving the EU. So that was really interesting to be on the ground floor. I was at Parliament actually the day they were voting on it. Had no idea there's television crews everywhere, so that was fascinating. Manchester, had a great time at the Engineering and Technology Museum there. Absolutely fascinating. One of the highlights of my trip was Edinburgh. Loved going there. Amazing city. I'm a big Harry Potter fan and went to the graveyard there. I went to Rollins coffee shops where she wrote the Harry Potter books. Then continued on to Dublin. Not a fan of Dublin. Did not enjoy the big city. I'm not a drinker. But I do want to go back to Ireland and spend time out here in the countryside, rent a car, and explore more. So I plan to go back to Scotland and Ireland and rent a vehicle and spend about 2 months, maybe 3 months, just exploring these areas. So I do want to come back and do that. Flew from Dublin all the way over to Estonia and to Tallinn. Tallinn was probably my favorite city that I've been to in all of Europe thus far. Absolutely spectacular. Loved it. Loved Estonia. Loved the food. Latvia, Riga was the very first YouTube video I did, so you can go back and start seeing the YouTube videos starting in Riga. First one, Riga and Vilnius. I was still learning how to do it, nervous on camera. You can see all of that in YouTube. They're sort of funny videos. Białystok, just a little stopover town in Poland, and Lviv was the very first city that I went to in Ukraine. Whoops, somehow I missed my stop in Krakow. Yep, I went to Krakow. I need to add that city to this little map. And did videos in Krakow. And Lviv was absolutely fantastic. Loved Ukraine and Lviv and Kiev. Not such a big fan of Odessa. Did a video there. It was an okay city. Moldova, again, just not an amazing experience for me. That's not particularly the types of cities that I enjoy going to. That was interesting to see. Went to Iași, which was where I crossed over into Romania, and Brașov, Sibiu, Sighișoara, Cluj, and Timișoara. Belgrade was where I crossed into Serbia. You can see videos of all of these. Zagreb was where first city I crossed into Croatia, where I am now. Continued on to Pula, Rovinj, Rijeka, Zadar, and now I am in Split. So that brings you up to speed. That's where I've been. So the question is, where am I going next? Where am I going for the next 3 months? The plan is finishing up the Balkans area, this entire area, including Turkey, and getting into Greece. I need to be in Greece November 11th. And then I'll be finishing my European tour by going to Spain and Portugal. So I'll be in Spain and Portugal around December, and that will be the end of the year. So I'm trying to formulate my travel plans for the next 2 months. I'll be finishing up here in Croatia, going to a couple more cities. I'll go to, I think it's called Hvar, an island near Split, tomorrow. And then after Hvar, crossing back into Split just for one night and into Bosnia to Sarajevo, and seeing that, and then I'll come back to Dubrovnika, however you pronounce it, seeing that, the last city in Croatia. So I'm dipping into Bosnia and then back to Croatia, and then down to Montenegro, and then probably go to Kosovo next. From there I'll cross into Albania to see Albania, and Macedonia. I'll see when I'm in Macedonia how close I am to November 11th. Whether I cross into Greece at that point, November 11th, I need to see my friend Nicole, who you can see in the Krakow video. She's my friend from Colorado in the United States. So I'll be seeing her November 11th. So I'll either cross from Macedonia into Greece then on November 11th, or possibly go to Bulgaria and then cross into Greece November 11th. I would like to hit Istanbul, but I just need to wait and see how secure it is, how safe it is, and what my schedule is based on where I am close to November. Then I'll be flying after being in Greece November 11th. I'll finish up there around November 15th, or maybe another week in Greece, and then I'll be flying out of Greece at some point, headed over to Spain and Portugal. So probably fly to Barcelona. I'll just have to see how the flights are at that time to see how I'll be wrapping up 2016, finish in Spain and Portugal, and that'll finish my year. That's pretty much it for my travel plans for 2016. I'll do another video in December to explain my upcoming plans for 2017, and have an exciting, super fun stuff, super fun plans for 2017, and so that'll be really a fun video to explain the overall travel plans for 2017, but you'll have to wait till December to see that. Hope you haven't found this video too boring. I've sort of went through a lot of cities very quickly, and that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the episodes, learning more about my travel plans for 2016, for what I'm doing the next 3 months and what I did. If you want, you can check out my website. I'll put a link down below, links to both of the maps that you looked at, and also you can check out a page on my website listing all the cities and countries that I've been to in my previous travels, even before 2016. That might be interesting for you. I guess that's all I have for this episode. Remember, savor the moment, be happy in your life, pursue your dreams. See you next time.